First we have a note.
Devil's Chord, Doctor Who. So in the beginning of this episode, we're introduced to this piano teacher and his student. Honestly, I actually started to get lost in the music, and this began to feel like a very different show.
Beethoven wrote this when he first discovered he was going deaf. All that rage and fury.
The Moonlit Sonata is my favorite Beethoven piece and one of my favorite pieces of music ever. It's the first Beethoven song I taught myself to play on the piano. I had so many emotions in this scene, and it just reminded me how much I wanted a grand piano more than anything, but I have nowhere to put it because it's too big. But feeling the music course through me and then learning right within this episode the meaning behind the song that touched my soul so much that inspired me to teach myself how to play it without knowing how to read music. Like, I learned entirely from ear. I'm not that good either. But after I memorized it, I would get lost in it, and it touched something deep within my soul, and I had no idea why. And it always made me want to cry because of how beautiful it was. And after learning through the scene why that was, it made me want to cry more. Imagine being a musical genius and then learning that you're going deaf and there'll come a time when you'll never be able to hear music again. Jesus Christ, that was so rough. It hit me like a sack of rubber puppies. I always remember listening to this piece and feeling this cosmic sadness and something so meaningful that I just couldn't describe it, and now I know. Anyway, the teacher thinks that he's boring the kid, and this is the introduction to this whole thing.
Boring you, Henry?
It's just a bit stuffy. Can't you play something more exciting, sir?
More exciting? What kind of ingrate is this? How could you be sitting next to this teacher, hearing him play this beautiful, ethereal music, and you're freaking bored? Who's bored of music? Anyway, the kid wants something more peppy, and the guy says there's a tritone, a devil's chord, that people believe when you play it makes the devil enter the room.
Makes you shiver, doesn't it? Technically it's known as a tritone, but
Look at the kid's face. Look at the teacher. He's like, okay, wait. Something's in the piano. It should not be there. What the hell? And this kid looks as though he is excited. And at first I'm thinking, okay, the devil's obviously in the room, and the kid's a freaking Satanist. Of course he's a redhead. I swear it's gonna be a meme soon. So this thing jumps out of the piano, and I swear to God.
Henry, get away from him.
Them.
What?
Me.
What?
I'm them.
You're who?
You're who?
It's kind of funny. It's so freaking ridiculous. Bro, every interaction with this thing that comes out the piano is just freaking amazing. Not gonna lie, villain actually did a very good job here. And you'll see why. If you hated this villain, it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Nice to see you again, kiddo.
You know each other.
That's my daddy.
Sorry, what? Okay, never mind the Pennywise incarnate, but let me get this straight. It's not a him, but it's his daddy? What in the confusion?
As my prelude. And now his song is sung.
Well then, so the kid bites the dust, and we are introduced properly to this eldritch entity thing, and it says its name is Maestro. This feels like an old play or something, theater play, which works. This guy is more concerned with what this thing is rather than the fact that it's just annihilated a child out of its clothes. That sounded bad. You know what? You saw what I mean.
Music. And you, Mr. Timothy Drake, you're a genius.
I'm getting some Little Mermaid Ursula vibes from this thing. Maybe that's intentional. So the Pennywise thing says, well, you're the greatest composer ever lived. You know, nobody respects you. I mean, you were clever enough to find the lost chord. And this bug-eyed English Buscemi version of himself is like, oh, well, I mean... So Maestro's like, you never got that break, bro, and I'm gonna give it to you. All those melodies right inside you. Ah! I'm sorry. I don't know why I always make those freaking sound effects. But that's what it looks like its face is doing. It's like busting out a mean fart, like, whatever farts sound like. So Maestro's like, go ahead. They're right inside you, baby. I want it. Yo, Maestro is huge. I didn't notice until I watched this over, like, it's so intimidating. And just watching how much Maestro towers over this guy. Maybe it's just the angle, or maybe this guy is really small. But damn, he could just blow on him and his skin comes off. So then Maestro tells the guy, do you want me to unravel all of that stuff outside of you? Then the teacher comes music notes, and then Maestro eats them. Oh, fuck no. What the fuck? Ew, bitch. That's nasty as fuck. Why did you make that fucking noise, bro? Wow. Oh my god, bro. Stop. Damn. What is that? It's like a freaking Pokemon, dude.
I'm the Pokemon you've been looking for.
Ugh, okay. This made me feel really, really uncomfortable. That was a little too much. Little too much. Can you imagine me being on set, trying to play the villain? They're like, all right, you're supposed to make it sound like it tastes really good, right? And I'm like, like, what the fuck? Who does that? And they just left it in. They were like, you know what? That was really good. Let's just leave it in there because it's going to make people feel so uncomfortable. Bro, it just came out of nowhere. Oh my god, why am I blushing? It's so freaking... Ugh, let's just move on. This villain, man. So anyway, Ruby and Doctor Who, they're like, oh, we want to go back and watch the Beatles perform their first song. First of all, John Lennon looking thick as hell. Why does the guy back there look like his eyebrows are pasted on? Anyway, are those his eyebrows or his eyes? Oh, those are his eyes. I am sorry. The resolution, never mind. So they're like, dude, what is happening? Because the music sounds horrible. At least they can still hold a note. Everywhere they go, they realize that people just... they can make music, but doesn't sound good. And then there's this other actress that's apparently supposed to be popular or something back in that time. I have no idea who she is. She looks like Velma and Shaggy mixed together. And everything just sounds uninspired and generic. Kind of like Doctor Who is now. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Not really. I guess everyone's just playing Three Blind Mice, and it doesn't sound horrible. I mean, it's still music. I'm expecting this cacophonous noise just emanating from everyone, but they can actually still hold notes. They're just not singing any inspired songs. So they go and talk to the Beatles, and everyone is not only aware that the songs are uninspired, but they're afraid to make them. So Doctor Who's like, yeah, if music's gone, this changes everything. We need to find out what happened. And it's an interesting concept. I'm gonna give them that.
So I can settle down and get a proper job. It's embarrassing.
Why does he look so jacked up? It's the hairstyle. But then you got John Lennon over here looking like a snack too. And look, I only learned about the Beatles from my husband. He was a big fan of them. His dad introduced them to him, so he grew up with that, sharing that affinity with his father. But he told me Paul McCartney, the other one, is supposed to look, the other one is supposed to look handsomer than John Lennon. And this one, John Lennon looks more handsome than Paul McCartney. McCartney, that's his name. Yeah. Doesn't really matter, but I'm surprised that they... Never mind, I'm not gonna say it.
White person.
So everyone's uninspired, and Ruby's telling John Lennon and his cute ass, you must hold on to that dream. Don't you have songs inside of you? And he basically admits to her that he does, and he starts to get inspired just talking to her. And he says, well, why do I wake up crying?
Because you're a stupid son of a bitch.
It's almost as though they realize they've lost something. There's something inside them they want to get out, and they can't. All you gotta do is do a bunch of drugs, and yeah, are there no drugs in this universe? Because that inspires music. Not saying you should go out and do it. Never mind.
I love you so much.
That would scare the shit out of me. So the doctor is like, yes, we have a problem. They get a piano brought up to the roof, and if there's no music allowed anymore, or no music, I mean, people can still use instruments, but why would people even be motivated to continue selling them if music is so lackluster anyway? So Ruby's the only person in the world, and I'm sure the doctor is too, that has music still inside of her.
I need you to play again.
I wrote this for my friend Trudy when the girl broke her heart.
So she starts playing this beautiful piece. And it really is beautiful. People start hearing it and they get inspired. They start crying. And it looks like a commercial for some antidepressant tablet. It's like people haven't heard music in such a long time. And their spirits are lifted. But something happens. The devil shows up again, interrupting. And everyone is mad and like, ah, never mind.
You called.
Obviously, this person is drawing from Pennywise. It is so clear that's what's happening, because it's the same way Pennywise crawls out of things when he's trying to scare people.
Time to float.
I love that scene when he does that. It's so hilarious. I love Pennywise. So it's clear they're drawing on some inspiration because it looks like Pennywise and it acts like Pennywise, but it's way more unhinged. So the doctor's like, that was the giggle, man. I can't fight this thing. And he has some severe PTSD. We then learn that this thing is part of these coalition of entities that are stronger than the doctor. Okay, I mean, this thing is freaking creepy. This actor did a really, really good job portraying this villain because the shit made me so unsettled. I mean, it's not like The Grudge scary, but it's very unsettling. Like those crazy sociopathic people that find you in the middle of the night walking on the sidewalk alone and they're like, hello. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna go around the next 2 blocks. And then it follows you and you're like, oh my God. That's what this reminds me of, which means that the person is doing a really good job with this. This episode is a lot better than the first one, which I know is not saying much. Like I said, Jodie Whittaker was so annoying. It was so bad that anything else is refreshing, unless they're trying to make it bad on purpose. But that's to give you an example of how low the bar was set. But this is actually an interesting concept, and the villain is really horrible. Now, I know a lot of people hate the villain, and one of the main concerns people had was like, oh my God, the villain's a they and them, and they're putting the pronouns and shit. And my husband thought that people were being ridiculous because in his words, he said, why are you upset with it being the villain? You got a they and them character that doesn't want people to have nice things. He's the one that said that, not me. But that's exactly what's happening here. Freaking Legion doesn't want anyone to have any happy thoughts and is taking away things that are fun.
Calls me Maestro.
Girl's like a freaking anime character. Looks like something from out of an anime. I love it. This person steals the entire show. And the way they're all acting scared, huddled up in the corner makes it even funnier.
And who are you? Because I heard music. And music is mine!
Oh my fucking God. I would be hiding so far up someone's ass right now. That was so excellently done because I'm watching it like, oh shit. Because before this point, you've never seen it get angry and then it's like roaring like a freaking fire-headed T-Rex. Whew. And you know, there are people that act like that in the real world and they're just as terrifying.
This is the neighborhood and you are not welcome.
That's why I need to be here. You need Jesus, ma'am. He can save you. Rational.
As annoying as I imagine that man is, that woman's scream is so annoying that even my dogs all woke up and their ears were flat across the back of their necks because they were like, what the fuck is that?
To help you.
I'm sorry, but I don't need your help.
Yes, you do, motherfucker. You do need my help, sir. Can't you see that, you son of a bitch?
Could you please just let me check out my groceries?
Fuck you, I'm trying to help you, motherfucker.
Man, when I see stuff like this and people like this, I don't miss New York. I really don't. I don't miss Philly. I don't miss any of it. I'm glad I never actually lived in big cities and I only travel there for classes because good Lord, good Lord, these are the types of people that walk the streets. I shit you not. Which is what makes this villain even more relatable in terms of credibility, because it feels so real because there are people that exist like this. Imagine if this thing had god powers, or those types of people had eldritch powers. This is exactly what we would see.
Music is mine!
So then there is silence. Doctor Who does something with the light and it creates silence. He's like, haha, I've got you now. The light makes it so the sound can't be heard in his eyes. This should be a meme. He looks like one of those, he looks like one of those anime characters with the Who face. It's so stupid, Jesus Christ. What is he doing? What are you waiting for, a facial? Look at this person. Like, its face reminds me of my cousin, and not like a fat version of him. So then he goes into the Nicki Minaj Anaconda spread eagle post twerk stance and puts the tongs, or the whatever you call this, inside the water, and there's a whole bunch of cinematic stuff going on. Then sound comes back and it's like, The old lady gets inspired after having heard the piano, and she's like, you know what, if I'm gonna go out like this, I want to be able to play music again. And Maestro's like, oh hell no, I know you did not just do that. Okay, the old lady should have died upon seeing it. She should have died. I don't know why this is so funny. Oh my god. This is so freaking ridiculous. Hey, there's a challenge that you guys should do. Watch this entire episode on mute. I swear to God, because I had it playing with no sound for a little bit. Just look how it looks with no sound, just for some context.
Check out my groceries?
Fuck you! I'm trying to help you, motherfucker!
Wow, this is...
You gotta ask Jesus Christ.
I don't have to do anything.
We're all sinners.
So anyway, the doctor, Ruby, the doctor's like, sorry, let me calm down. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So I always have water on hand. Resets the brain. Okay. Nothing like a chilling liquid sliding down your throat hole to calm you down. Shut up. You guys are nasty-minded. So am I, but still. So the doctor says that thing is part of the pantheon, and he says there are vast powers beyond the universe, just like the toy maker. And the doctor says that defeating him took everything. Yeah, it split you in two, apparently, and made you half of what the doctor was. The doctor is freaking out because he's like, I can't do that again. And I guess we're supposed to find him relatable in this moment because he's terrified. And the fact that he is such a powerful being, but there are more powerful beings than him, should make us afraid. But the Doctor Who I knew would not have been that afraid. He would have been like, you know what? Dude has looked in the freaking devil's face and laughed at him.
Rushing on this universe. I've seen fake gods and bad gods and demigods and would-be gods. None of all that. None of that whole pantheon. If I believe in one thing, just one thing, I believe in her. This is your freedom! Free to die! You're going into that black hole and I'm riding with you.
Hey, Dad! Now he's scared of this, And maybe it is because he's half the man that Doctor Who initially was.
Okay, so what do we do? I don't know. I don't know, Ruby. That's the point. I don't know.
No, he's not.
I don't. The last time I got lucky, catch. One trick once.
So then why should anybody rely on you when you don't even know what you're doing? Seems like maybe we should switch sides to the Pantheon people then. So the Doctor's like, you know, this is really bad. And Ruby's like, but we still have music in the future. Why does the TARDIS look even more purple than it was before? And it's sad to see the Doctor sad, especially because he's usually happy. That's the only thing about this. Like, he's usually so happy and joyful, and seeing him terrified and very sad actually made me feel kind of bad, not gonna lie. When Ruby goes out and he takes her back to the present, this is now what it looks like. Her mom is gone. Everyone she knows is gone. Apparently, without music, nothing remains but war. Pretty sure people can make music out of other stuff. What constitutes as music, though? Because the thing said that music is mine. But they were still able to sing Three Blind Mice, and they're still able to make music, just not music that everybody would agree on is very good. Children might, though. Doesn't that still constitute as music? They weren't very specific. It would have made more sense if they didn't have music at all, but whatever, plot. I swear the Doctor's like a manipulative, abusive partner. In my headcanon, the Doctor knows everything that's happening, and all these other things are in on it, and he's alternating reality because he wants to fuck with humans. He's probably one of those Pantheon things. It's like, you know, guys, I want to role play with these humans. So every time I'm going to pick up one human and just show them a bunch of stuff and make them think we're actually in danger and scare the shit out of them, and then I come in to save them and make them fall in love with me. And he's here saying, it's okay, baby. I know. Meanwhile, in the back of his mind, he's the one that created this entire simulation so she could live through it and live through all the emotions. That's what I'm thinking. He says, without music, the human race goes sour. I would have loved it if the plot ends up being that. Like, all along, the Doctor was making all these things happen. He was creating the virus and then pretending to be the antivirus, like what happens in real life. So then we meet Maestro again, and we find out that Maestro is the spawn of the toy maker.
If he was the living game, you are the essence of music itself.
But what's the point? You destroyed the world. Music is gone. How is that win?
Not gone, darling. Hush.
Oh my god. I like how they start backing up. My thing is, like, why would you be yelling at, like, the Doctor can yell at it. You should probably stay quiet. Then music is like, I like the sound of nuclear winter. Why is it so hateful? Like, doesn't it want people to enjoy it? He can't be the essence of music itself. Can't be the essence of music itself because Maestro eats music. And if it was the essence of music, then he would have just gotten rid of all of it as well. I don't know. I don't know. This interesting. It's Doctor Who though, so don't think that far.
Your father established the rules of fair play. One thing that he would never do is cheat. So I have a right to know.
A genius. A single silly man who found the lost chord.
Which means a different combination of notes would banish you.
I said genius.
That's cold. That's cold. Called him dumb 6 ways till Friday. That's messed up. So they go back to 1963, and they try to see if they can find the lost chord. He said if we can record the right tune on the sonic, we can use it as a weapon. So they try finding the lost chords, which is stupid because there's like millions of combinations. Unfortunately, Maestro's not gonna let that happen, so it takes Ruby. Now, ordinarily, when the Doctor gets really mad, like Matt Smith and David Tennant, you'd be like, damn, okay, I can believe that the Doctor is mad. Now, he almost catches that. He's about 75% here, but that's not actually, I still don't believe it.
Invite me! Leave her alone!
That was a little bit better, and I find this so hilarious, this scene. What do you guys notice here? There is a very orange-headed, big foreheaded, clown makeup type person who is an eldritch entity called It, and somebody is floating in the background, completely helpless. If you guessed Pennywise making people float, you guessed right.
What's this, Daddy?
You will be. I am asking you just... What? That's wrong.
So apparently, Ruby has a hidden song deep inside her soul. Because remember how everything connects via Ruby. Now it starts snowing all over because I guess the memory of when her mom left her. It's the music that was playing the night that Ruby was born. And Maestro's like, how can a song have so much power? Like a freaking anime scene. Not saying it's like anime, because that would be a compliment. This is nowhere near that. I'm just saying it's reminiscent of how that would be portrayed. Maestro claims it's power like him. When the doctor questions about this, Maestro mentions the oldest one, which leads me to believe that Ruby is probably part god or some kind of demigod or something. Maestro is confused, wondering why the oldest one would have been there. The only thing that makes sense is that he knocked someone up and she's part god. They seem to be alluding to that a lot. Ruby snaps out of it, and it takes a while for them to defeat Maestro. They have a dance-off or music play-off or something. The doctor doesn't look as though he can play the piano because they keep cutting from him. And this is the most bombastic scene I have seen so far. Maestro is confident these people cannot defeat it.
And I can only smile like this because I have lost so much. I've experienced everything. Every single thing.
If you've experienced everything, then how can you have new experiences? You said you live for the new experiences, yet you've experienced everything. Which is it, bro? Pick a lane. Like, I'm so confused. They're so wishy-washy, flippy-floppy with this entire story, I can't keep my head on straight. So they almost start, but it's not enough. And so they're gonna need a little help. Guess who comes? After Maestro locks them inside of the instruments? John Lennon. He starts playing while the doctor is locked inside one of the instruments as well.
And a third, fourth, let them sort things out.
He's almost here.
This is what people in New York have to deal with in the subway every day, by the way. This ain't nothing new. So music is back, and the doctor oozes all over himself. Everything changes, the timeline is back to the way it was. I don't see how that would be, since every time you do something like stepping on a butterfly, it drastically changes the timeline, but them having met the Beatles and did nothing to change the timeline, yeah, right. Then there is a freaking, what my husband called a Glee segment that just felt so separated from everything else. It just came out of nowhere. Like, I know this is supposed to be about music, but what in the hell is going on here? And this goes on for a long time. Like, it just goes on for a long time. Now, when music came back, I expected, okay, they probably can't afford the Beatles. Sure, why not? But I was expecting a little something more, you know, you would see montages of people singing songs and creating music and have a montage of all these songs. Hell, you can go on freaking Epidemic Sound and get some music and just mash all of them together. Like some kind of effort, you know? But no, we get a freaking whatever the fuck this is. It's just... what in the actual hell is going on right now? Okay? I'm so done. I'm so done. Like, that's how it all ends. And it just goes on forever and ever and ever. And oh, there's a kid, he's upset. It's a musical, and they keep going on and on. And they're like, oh yeah, look at our umbrellas. And then it keeps going on. And it's like, dude, come on. What in the fuck is going on? Like this is, I guess this is on par with this type of Doctor Who, but it just felt so out of left field for me. I would have loved some more meaningful music, but I guess this is their version of, this is a freaking fever dream. I swear to God, it's a fever dream. All right, whatever. Well, there you go. That was The Devil's Lost Chord. The villain did a good job, though. The villain was good. I liked the villain, and I think that if it weren't for the villain, this would have been not as palatable. And also an interesting concept, but good grief. I feel like you need to be high to watch these newer Doctor Who episodes now. And don't even try to make them make sense, because they just have lost all coherency.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Someday